No more bets, more bites. Please see pinned comment for part 1 and 2. Don't be a zombie. Like and subscribe to the channel for more stories, and check out the playlist for a full feast. Keep listening and stay safe out there. We burst through the door like hunted animals, the slam rattling the frame. I twisted the lock twice, slid the chain into place, and stepped back, my pulse thundering in my ears. The silence that followed wasn't relief. It was a predator's pause. Aaron was already at his side of the room, tearing through drawers, shoving clothes and whatever his hands touched into his backpack in frantic, jerky motions. A sock, a shirt, a half-empty water bottle. It didn't matter. The only goal was a full bag. I moved differently, quick but calculated. Car keys off the nightstand, spare house key from my wallet, charger, flashlight from the dresser. Essentials. Every second felt like I was trying to outrun an unseen clock, one tick closer to disaster. The hallway outside was quiet, but not the quiet that meant safety. This was the thick, waiting kind, the kind that told you the thing hunting you was close enough to hear your heartbeat. Aaron's voice cracked the stillness. That wasn't Liz. That couldn't have been Sarah. I didn't look up. You saw them. They weren't alive anymore, I cut in, sharper than I meant to. The words seemed to hollow him out. His hands kept moving, but slower now, as if he were packing lead instead of cotton. I yanked my phone from my pocket and hit Zia's name. She picked up on the first ring. "Steven?" Her voice was tight, as if she'd been holding her breath since the last time we spoke. "Listen to me carefully," I said, forcing my tone into steel. "I'm getting out. Aaron's with me. I don't know how long it'll take, but I want you ready." "What's happening? What's wrong?" "Things have gone bad here, real bad. Just stay inside, keep the kids close, and wait by the door. Don't open it for anyone but me." Her breathing hitched. "Steven, I mean it, Zia. Only me, my voice, my knock. If it's anyone else, you don't open, you don't even answer. Understand?" There was a pause. Then, small and trembling, "Okay, I'll be here." I ended the call, my hand damp against the phone. Aaron was standing still now, staring at the door as if he could see through it. His lips moved, but whatever he was trying to say got swallowed. "So, we wait?" he finally managed. "Yes," I said. "We move only when they're gone." Straight to the elevator, no stops, no second looks. That was when it came, the sound of something being dragged just beyond the door, slow, uneven, wet. We froze. A shadow bled across the strip of light beneath the door. It stayed there. Aaron's breath quickened until I could feel it between us. The chain rattled softly, first like fingertips brushing metal, then harder, testing its strength. A sound followed, low and guttural. A bubbling growl, as though something deep inside the throat was rotting even as it breathed. The shadow didn't move for a long moment. Then, slowly, the dragging steps began again, each one receding with agonizing reluctance. We listened until they vanished into silence. We didn't wait long. Waiting meant giving them the choice of when to come back. I slung my backpack over one shoulder and gripped the strap tight enough to hurt. Aaron had his bag clutched to his chest like it was a lifeline. "Ready?" I whispered. He nodded, but his eyes said otherwise. I unlatched the chain, turned the lock, and eased the door open. The hallway stretched empty in both directions, dim, still, almost too still. The air smelled faintly metallic, like rust and bleach. We stepped out. The first 5 steps were clean. Then, from the far end of the corridor, a head snapped into view. Liz. Her eyes locked on us instantly, the whites too bright against the shadowed bruises blooming on her face. She moved in a stuttering half-step, like her bones and muscles were still negotiating how to work together. Then her whole body jerked forward and she broke into a run. Sarah followed a heartbeat later, bursting from the same corner, bare feet slapping the carpet, her torn clothes flapping against her legs. Her mouth was open too wide, a wet rasp tearing from her throat. "Aaron, move!" I barked. We bolted, the air behind us filled with the sound of their pursuit, pounding feet, guttural snarls, the faint slap of flesh against fabric as their limbs flailed. "Right!" I shouted, and we veered hard toward the elevator bank. The moment we rounded the corner, I saw it, the glowing green rectangle of the fire exit sign at the far end. We didn't discuss it. Elevators meant waiting. Waiting meant death. Halfway down the hall, Liz's screech ripped through the air. It was high and broken, like glass dragged across steel, and it made Aaron's pace stutter for a split second. I shoved him forward. "Don't stop!" We reached the fire door, and I slammed into the push bar with my shoulder. The metal groaned open, and we burst into the stairwell. The air here was cooler, sharper, smelling of concrete dust and stale ventilation. Behind us, the fire door shuddered violently as something hit it. Once, twice. I grabbed Aaron's arm. "Go!" We pounded down the stairs, our footsteps echoing in the narrow space. My legs were already burning, but I didn't dare slow. The fire door above rattled again, followed by the screech of hinges under strain. We took the stairs two at a time, our footfalls a rapid drumbeat in the narrow shaft. Only one flight down, from the second floor to ground. It should have felt like safety was just around the corner. It didn't. The fire door at the bottom loomed ahead, glowing red in the emergency lighting. I shoved the bar with my shoulder. The door burst open, and we froze. The lobby was wrong. 3 guests staggered across the marble floor, their clothes torn, faces slick with sweat and streaked with crimson. One of them had a deep gash in his jawline, the skin hanging loose, still dripping. The other 2 moved like their bones didn't fit right anymore, stiff at first, then jerking forward in sudden, ugly bursts. They hadn't seen us. Yet. I pulled Aaron back into the shadow just inside the doorway. We ducked low and bolted for the front desk, crouching behind it. The desk was empty, the chairs overturned, and a half-drunk cup of coffee sat abandoned, the ring of condensation still fresh on the counter. Aaron leaned close, his whisper fast and sharp. "How the hell are they infected here?" My eyes tracked the erratic way the nearest one twitched her head, like she was trying to smell the air. They must have gotten sick around the same time. If it started together, it's only reasonable they'd change together too. Aaron's face was pale, his breathing too quick. But the nurse, she changed almost instantly. I didn't look at him. The bite. He didn't respond, but I felt the weight of that word sink in. Footsteps scraped across the lobby tiles, slow, uneven. One of the infected let out a wet gurgle, the sound bouncing off the high ceiling. Another sniffed the air, head snapping in sharp twitches. We stayed low, pressed to the desk, listening to the shuffle of their feet and the faint sound of drool pattering onto marble. One wrong move, one wrong sound, and the desk wouldn't save us. From behind the front desk, the lobby looked like an open killing zone. The marble floor stretched wide and bare, the dim lighting catching faint reflections that seemed to move if you stared too long. Any step out there would echo. Any mistake would bring them down on us. That's when Gino's words came back, clear as if he were whispering beside me. "I'm going out through the waste room, less eyes there." If he made it, maybe we could too. I caught Aaron's gaze and motioned toward the far side of the lobby. The back-of-house door was beyond the cloakroom, tucked into the far corner. If we could get through there, the waste room wouldn't be far. We crouched low and began sliding along the desk's shadow. Every scuff of our shoes on the marble made my jaw clench. The air stank of sweat, blood, and something sour, like milk left too long in the sun. The cloakroom door was just ahead, its shadowed entrance yawning wide. Beyond it, the back of the house door gleamed faintly in the darkness, the push bar catching the light. One last stretch. Then, a figure burst from the shadows beside the cloakroom. It hit Aaron full force, the sound of the impact echoing through the marble. His bag skidded across the floor. The thing pinned him down, hands clawing at his chest, its mouth snapping inches from his throat. For a heartbeat that felt like forever, I froze. I saw Aaron's face twisted in panic, his arms locked against the creature's descent. And I saw Zia, the kids, home. I could run. I could be through that door in seconds. But my feet moved toward him, not away. I hit the infected at full speed, tearing it off Aaron and slamming it into the wall so hard it bounced. It screeched, nails raking down my sleeve. I swung my bag into its head, once, twice, until it collapsed in a twitching heap. Aaron scrambled up, picked up his bag, still gasping, but his eyes widened over my shoulder. "Steven," he hissed. "We have to run. They heard us." I turned. 3 infected in the lobby had stopped their jerking wander. Now their eyes locked on us, heads twitching unnaturally. One let out a shriek that shattered the stillness. Then they charged. We bolted. The door gave way under my shoulder, slamming into the wall with a hollow clang. We spilled into the narrow service corridor, the air immediately thicker, humid, tinged with bleach, garbage, and something that made my throat tighten. We didn't slow. A snarl seeped through the gap, muffled but close enough to rattle my spine. We ran. The corridor twisted left, past stacked crates of bottled water and boxes of linens. The fluorescent lights overhead flickered erratically, making the shadows twitch and jerk like they were alive. Halfway down, the sound hit us. Not footsteps, not voices. Feeding. A wet, tearing sound echoed off the tile, mixed with low, animal groans. We rounded the corner and saw it. A man in a housekeeping uniform was on his back, pinned under 2 infected. One had its face buried in his neck, ripping away with a sickening pop of sinew. The other clamped down on his arm, shaking its head like a dog worrying a bone. Blood sprayed in arcs across the white wall. Aaron stumbled back, almost tripping over. The one at the man's neck lifted its head, strings of flesh dangling from its teeth. Its milky eyes locked on us. "Go!" I barked, shoving Aaron forward. We tore down another hall, the sound of pursuit joining the one behind us. A storage door burst open ahead. Another infected staggered into our path. Its head lolled to the side, jaw half-hanging, teeth clattering together with every jerky step. I grabbed Aaron's shirt and yanked him sideways into a narrower passage, barely avoiding its grasping hands. The new hallway was tighter, lined with racks of cleaning supplies and folded carts. We pushed through, shoving bottles and mops to the floor in our wake. From behind me, Aaron panted out, You know where the waste room is?" "How would I know?" I shot back, my breath ragged. "I watch blackjack tables, not garbage. Just run. We'll figure it out." We rounded another corner and froze. 3 more infected stood ahead, backs to us, swaying like drunks. The one in the middle turned its head almost fully around, the neck muscles popping, before letting out a shrill screech. "Move!" I shoved Aaron hard, and we bolted down the nearest side corridor. Our footsteps slapped against the tile, joined by the chaotic rhythm of pursuit. Behind us, beside us, too close. Every doorway we passed felt like it might explode open. The chase was endless. Every turn, every stretch of tile, there was no breathing room, only the pounding of feet, ours and theirs, echoing together in a single, relentless rhythm. My lungs burned. My legs felt like they were made of steel rods, stiff and ready to snap. Sweat stung my eyes and the metallic taste of panic filled my mouth. Behind me, Aaron's steps grew heavier, slower. His breathing came in harsh, desperate gasps. "I can't run anymore," he choked out, stumbling. "Just keep running," I barked, shoving at his shoulder. "Don't stop." "I'm slowing down." "Then push, keep running." My voice cracked under the strain, but I didn't let up. A snarl erupted somewhere behind us, closer now, much closer. The sound drove a spike through my chest. Aaron suddenly let his bag fall. It hit the tile with a heavy thud and slid away, spilling a half-empty water bottle that rolled to the wall. "Go," he wheezed, his arms pumping without rhythm now, legs almost buckling. I didn't want to look back. I knew what I'd see, but I glanced over my shoulder anyway. Shadows flickered across the far end of the hall, limbs jerking, mouths gaping, the infected gaining on us. My own legs screamed for me to stop. My chest heaved so hard I could barely breathe. Every step felt heavier than the last, my vision tunneling. But stopping meant teeth. Stopping meant screams. And we didn't have the luxury for either. "Just keep going," I rasped, forcing my pace forward, willing Aaron to match it. "Waste room's close. It has to be close." But the pounding of feet behind us was louder now, sharper, closing the gap. We rounded another corner, the tile blurring under my feet, and my gut twisted. A yellow mop bucket, a collapsed cart, a crooked staff-only sign hanging from a single screw. I knew I'd seen them before. No, this isn't right. The pounding in my skull wasn't just from the run anymore. My eyes darted to the next hallway, the same flickering light, the same peeling strip of duct tape on the wall. We just passed this. We've been turning right every time. I swore under my breath, the sound lost in the chaos behind us. "Aaron!" I shouted, my voice cracking. "Next one. We turn left, left." He didn't answer, just gave a sharp nod, his face pale and drenched in sweat. We barreled toward the junction, veered hard left, and almost collided with a man hauling a plastic crate stacked with bottled water. He froze mid-step, eyes wide, sweat soaking the collar, face drawn tight with panic. I recognized him, Rommel, one of the kitchen guys. "Run!" I yelled at him, waving frantically. "They're coming!" But instead of bolting, Rommel yanked open the thick steel door of the cold storage and slipped inside. He looked back over his shoulder, jerking his head toward us, his eyes saying hurry. I didn't think. I grabbed Aaron's arm and dragged him toward the open door. The snarls were closer now. We dove inside just as the first shadow spilled into view at the far end of the hall. Rommel slammed the door shut, the heavy latch clanging into place. The cold bit instantly, sharp enough to make my teeth ache. My breath came out in white bursts, Aaron's even heavier, his shoulders heaving. For the first time since we started running, we weren't moving. Rommel leaned against a rack of vacuum-sealed meat, his chest rising and falling, eyes scanning us. "What the hell happened to you two?" I swallowed down the taste of iron in my mouth. "We're getting out. Waste room's our way. You know where it is?" He nodded without hesitation. "Near the loading dock, where deliveries come in. Go all the way to the far end, turn right, then left at the first roll-up door. Should put you right there." "Come with us," I said, stepping toward him. "We can—" Rommel shook his head, almost smiling. He swept a hand around the cold storage. "Look at this. Food for months. Bottled water. And that's just in here. There's more outside, in the dry stores, canned stuff. As long as the power's on, we're set. If it cuts, we've still got enough to last." I glanced at the metal racks stacked high with packaged meat, crates of vegetables, shelves lined with water bottles. He wasn't wrong. "You're staying here?" I asked. "Damn right." His voice was firm, final. "Best shot I've got until this blows over. And you two can stay here too, safer than out there." Aaron was already eyeing the shelves, his breath still ragged. The cold was a relief compared to the chase outside, the smell here clean compared to the sour stink beyond the door. Aaron sat hunched on one of the crates, his breath fogging the air. He rubbed his hands over his arms, not so much from the cold, but from something else. That nervous, restless energy that came when you wanted to say something but couldn't spit it out. His gaze kept drifting to the shelves, stacked high with vacuum-sealed meat, crates of vegetables, and rows of more supplies. He lingered on them like a starving man at a buffet. "It's safe here, right?" Aaron finally asked, voice low, eyes still on the shelves. "Like, they can't get in?" Rommel didn't hesitate. "Steel door, thick latch, no windows. You're in the safest room in the building. Everything you need's here, more in the dry storage outside this door. You wait this out, you'll be fine." Aaron gave a small, slow nod, tapping his fingers against his knee. It hit me then. This wasn't just curiosity. This was him calculating, weighing the odds. And unlike me, Aaron didn't have Zia and the kids waiting at home. No one to get back to. The idea of risking his life to cross the hotel halls just to get somewhere. It probably felt insane. I glanced at Rommel. He was leaning against a rack of sealed meat, his body language calm, almost confident. "You both should stay," he said. "Plenty of food, water, canned goods outside. If power goes, we've got enough shelf-stable stuff to last months. No reason to be running out there when it's suicide." Aaron's head tilted slightly at that. He still didn't look at me, but his body leaned just a little toward Rommel, like he was already half convinced. I stepped forward. "You're thinking about it." Aaron exhaled sharply through his nose, still not meeting my eyes. "I mean, you've seen what's out there, man. We barely made it here. We go back out. Maybe we don't make it." Rommel jumped in before I could speak. "Exactly. You've got a fortress here. No gamble. Just stay put." I stared at Aaron, then said, "It's safer for you here." No argument there. But something about this. I gestured at the cold metal walls, the humming lights, the stocked shelves. Doesn't feel right. Aaron looked at me, brow furrowed. "What doesn't feel right? It's the only place we've been today where something's not trying to kill us." "Yeah," I said. "But it's also a box. No way out except that door. We don't know how long normal will take to come back, if it ever does. You stay in here too long, you're just waiting for the wrong thing to open that door." He frowned, glancing between me and Rommel. I leaned in, my voice lower now. Or maybe... I swallowed, feeling the cold bite my throat. Maybe I just don't want to go out there alone. Rommel shook his head with a short laugh. "Man, you're crazy to leave. You've got food, shelter, safety. Most people out there would prefer this." Aaron's foot tapped faster now. His eyes went to the door, then to the shelves, then back to me. I didn't know if it was fear of the unknown or the thought of facing it alone, but my gut screamed one thing. Don't let him stay here. I stepped closer to Aaron, lowering my voice so Rommel couldn't drown me out. You stay here, you might be fine, but you might not. You've seen how fast this spreads. One door, one latch. That's all between you and them. All it takes is one person, just one, to get in, and it's over." Aaron's jaw clenched, but he didn't answer. Rommel scoffed. "Man, you think too much. That's why people screw up in situations like this. Overthink, and you make dumb moves. Smart thing? Stay put, conserve energy, wait for the army or cops to sweep the place." I shook my head. "Rommel, no one's coming. Not soon enough." He smirked, like I'd just told him the world was flat. "You don't know that." "I know what I've seen," I shot back, sharper now. "People turning in minutes, places going from calm to hell in less than an hour, and I know I'm not betting my life on a maybe." Aaron looked away again, the tapping of his foot slowing, almost stopping. He was teetering, I could feel it. "Aaron," I said, my voice dropping to a near whisper. "You were with me when the nurse changed. You saw how fast it went. You think hiding here means you're safe? It just means you're waiting for it to happen where you can't run." His eyes flicked to mine, searching for something. "Out there, it's bad," I continued. "I'm not saying it's not, but at least we're moving, choosing. In here, you're just waiting." Rommel crossed his arms, watching us like a dealer waiting for a player to fold. Aaron finally spoke, his voice low. "If I go and we don't make it, then we don't make it," I said, plain and cold. "But we tried." He looked at the shelves one last time, long and hard, then back at me. "You're a pain in the ass, you know that?" "Yeah," I said, a faint smirk tugging at my mouth. "But I'm the one heading for the waste room." Rommel threw up his hands. "Fine, go be heroes. I'll be here when you come crawling back." I didn't answer. My hand was on the latch when Aaron spoke again. "Stephen, wait." I turned. His shoulders were hunched, his eyes locked on the floor like the tiles could give him the right words. He took a deep breath, and when he looked at me, there was something in his face I hadn't seen all day, the kind of resignation that comes when a decision's already been made. I'm staying too." He swallowed hard. "You've got a wife, kids, a reason to get out there. I don't. I've got no one waiting on the other side. You've seen what's out there. I can't." He stopped, shook his head. "I just can't make myself walk back into that." My gut twisted. I wanted to argue again, to drag him out by the arm if I had to, but the words caught in my throat. "You're safer with me," I said, though even I could hear the doubt in it. "I'm safer here," he replied. His voice didn't waver. "Rommel's right. There's food, water, a lock on the door. Out there, it's teeth and claws and screaming. In here, maybe I get to see another week, maybe more." I searched his face, hoping for hesitation. There wasn't any. "You sure?" I asked. He nodded once. "Yeah." Then he tried for a smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Besides, you always said I was bad luck at the tables. Might be better for you if I'm not slowing you down." I wanted to laugh, but it came out as a tight exhale. I stepped closer, gripped his shoulder. "You're not bad luck, never were, and if things settle out there, I'll find a way back here. You hear me?" His eyes softened. "I hear you." Rommel was leaning against the racks, arms folded, silent now, maybe out of respect, maybe because he'd already won the argument for Aaron. I released Aaron's shoulder and stepped back to the door. My hand lingered on the latch. The cold bit through my jacket, but it was nothing compared to the chill settling in my chest. "You take care of yourself," I said. "You too," he replied. The latch clicked. Cold air bled into the hallway. I stepped out, 1 foot into the corridor, and movement exploded to my right. A figure burst from the shadows, mouth stretched wide, eyes glazed with that same dead hunger. Then another, farther down the hall. Their guttural snarls filled the space before I could even think. "Run, Stephen! Run!" Aaron's voice tore out from behind me, echoing through the door. The metal slammed shut before I could turn, sealing him and Rommel back inside. I ran. Alone now, my legs pounded against the marble. My breath roared in my ears. Every shadow seemed to twitch. Every corner held something waiting to lunge. There was no one to watch my back, no one to cover my blind side. When you're with someone, you worry about them, keeping pace, watching for danger. When you're alone, there's only you, and everything else in the world feels like it's coming straight for you. The fear crept in quick, curling cold fingers around my chest. My grip on the bag tightened until my knuckles ached. A snarl erupted behind me, closer than I liked. I didn't look. Looking slowed you down. I turned a corner, heart hammering, and there it was, a gray metal roll-up door with a bold red waste room stenciled across it. I lunged for the latch, yanked it up hard. The door rattled, screaming against its hinges, every sound feeling like an invitation to anything nearby. I ducked under, slipping into the reek of detergent, rotting trash, and stale air. My boots splashed in a wet, sticky flooring as I made for the far side. Another door. I shoved it open and stumbled into daylight. Harsh, blinding, the air thick with the smell of asphalt and exhaust. I was outside the property. For the first time all day, the walls of the casino weren't around me. The parking building loomed beside the casino, gray concrete against blazing sky, so close I could almost taste safety. My car was there, ground floor, near the stairwell, 50 meters, maybe less. I slid along the wall, keeping low. The heat scorched the asphalt, the air thick with rot and exhaust. I crept past a delivery van, past a Lexus with its windshield shattered red, every nerve straining. Then I heard it. A rasp, low, wet, right behind me. I whipped around. An infected man, face half-caved and jaw dangling, staggered out from behind the van. His milky eyes locked onto me, his mouth tearing open in a snarl that wasn't human anymore. I bolted. His screech split the air, too loud, too sharp. The others would hear. My shoes pounded the asphalt as I sprinted across the open drive, the parking building yawning like a mouth ahead. Almost there, almost. Something slammed into my side. I crashed between two parked cars, metal jolting my ribs, the world spinning. A woman's weight bore down on me, her teeth snapping inches from my face, strands of hair slapping my skin as she snarled. Her fingers clawed for my throat, nails digging bloody lines into my neck. I shoved back, my bag wedged between us, her rotten breath hot and sour in my nose. She was strong, too strong. My arms shook as her teeth scraped closer, closer. I bucked, twisting, my shoulder slamming her against the bumper of the car. Metal groaned, but she didn't let go. Her mouth snapped, teeth clacking, hungry for my face. I gritted my teeth, panic clawing my chest. Not here, not like this. Her teeth snapped an inch from my cheek. The sound was sharp, wet, final, the promise of what she'd do if she got closer. I jammed my forearm across her throat, my bag braced between us, muscles screaming as she thrashed. Her nails dug trenches into my arm, hot pain flaring. My strength was slipping fast. Adrenaline spiked. My free hand fumbled for anything. Anything. A water bottle, half full. I snatched it up and without thinking, smashed it into her face. Once. Twice. The plastic crumpled, water bursting over her, spraying my own face as she snarled louder, wetter. It wasn't enough. But it stunned her. A blink of hesitation. I rammed the bottle into her mouth, jamming it between her snapping teeth. She gagged, bit down hard, plastic crunching between her jaws. I heaved sideways, rolling her against the bumper of the car, then drove my bag into her chest. Her head hit metal with a hollow crack. She twitched, then slumped, still chewing uselessly at mangled plastic. No time to breathe. The guttural rasp I'd heard before was right behind me. I twisted. The man with the caved face, the one who chased me out of cover, was already there, closer than I thought, closer than I dared hope. His ruined mouth gnashed, spittle flying as he lunged. I scrambled back, shoes slipping on blood-stained pavement. His hands swiped the air where my throat had been a heartbeat earlier. I bolted. Pain pulsed in my ribs where the tackle had landed, but fear burned hotter. My legs drove me forward, weaving between cars, the infected's ragged breath tearing after me. The parking building was wide open now, the entrance yawning ahead like salvation or a trap. My car, just a few more steps, but his snarls followed, too close, his shadow stretching long over mine. And there it was, my car, just a dozen steps away, but the guttural rasp behind me reminded me of the truth. I couldn't just sprint to it. Not with him still coming. He was fast, relentless. Every step dragging, but never slowing. If I fumbled with the keys at the door, he'd be on me before I got the engine to turn. I had to deal with him. My eyes darted, searching. I bolted past my car, sneakers slapping concrete, forcing the infected to follow me deeper into the lot. His snarl echoed off the walls, bouncing everywhere at once, closing in like a hunter. Then I saw it. Mounted against a pillar, dull red in the half-light, a fire extinguisher. I skidded to it, ripped it free, the metal weight jarring my arms. The pin clattered against the floor as I turned. He was already there, staggering through the rows, his face a ruin of skin and teeth, his arms reaching, fingers clawing the air between us. My breath came fast. My grip tightened. This is it. No more running. I braced my feet, lifted the extinguisher, and as he lunged, I swung Will all my might. The steel cylinder connected with a sickening crunch, the impact jolting through my bones. His head whipped sideways, a spray of dark spittle arcing into the air. He crumpled to the floor, twitching once, twice, then went still. I stood over him, chest heaving, extinguisher still raised, waiting for another twitch, another breath. But there was nothing. The silence in the garage was louder than the snarl had been. I lowered the extinguisher, breath ragged, and turned back toward my car. I opened the door and collapsed into the driver's seat, lungs burning, sweat slicking my palms. My bag hit the back seat. The fire extinguisher landed next to it with a dull thud, its red surface smeared and dented, a grisly reminder of what I'd just done. I stared at it, my hands trembling. I'd taken a life. Yes, the man had been infected, twisted into something grotesque. But there was no denying it. He had been alive once. Hours ago, maybe he was laughing at a table, lighting a cigarette, living his normal life. Now his skull was crushed because of me. The clang of metal against bone echoed in my head, replaying again and again. The spray of blood, the way his body folded without fight. My breath came shallow, uneven. The thought settled cold and heavy. I could do it again. I would have to do it again. Then, "Stephen!" The shout tore through the silence, sharp, unexpected. My blood froze. For an instant, it felt like the voice was coming from the dead. Like the man I'd just killed had risen, calling my name. Heart pounding, I leaned forward, ears straining, every nerve alight with fear. "Stephen!" The voice again, human, real. But it didn't calm me, it rattled me worse. I lowered the window, inch by inch, bracing myself for what I might see. "Stephen, help!" The voice cut through the air, desperate, cracking. I knew it instantly. Aaron. The key turned in my hand before I even thought. The engine roared alive. I slammed the horn twice, sharp, echoing blasts, and leaned out the window. "Right here!" I shouted. I eased the car forward, headlights sweeping the rows. Then I saw him. Aaron, running full tilt, his face twisted in terror. His voice broke as he shouted again, "Stephen!" And behind him, Rommel. But not Rommel anymore. His eyes clouded and fixed, his mouth open in a guttural snarl as he lunged after Aaron with jerking, inhuman speed. The sound of Aaron's shoes slapped against concrete. Frantic. Too close to the thing gaining on him. Rommel wasn't running like a man anymore, he was hunting. I gripped the wheel, breath caught in my throat. 1 second to decide. I spun the wheel, tires screeching against concrete, headlights cutting a hard line toward them. Foot slammed to the floor. The engine roared. "Move, Aaron!" I shouted, voice breaking. Aaron glanced, eyes wide, then forward at me, barreling straight at him. For a heartbeat, he froze. "Move!" I bellowed again. At the last second, Aaron dove sideways, skidding across the floor. Rommel wasn't so lucky. The car hit him full force. The impact shook the frame, a wet crack splitting the air. His body launched upward, flung like a rag doll into the air. For an instant, his limbs pinwheeled against the glare of my headlights. Then he smashed onto the hood, rolled across the windshield, and shot clear over the roof. The thud of his body hitting the ground behind us echoed like thunder. I slammed the brakes, the car jolting hard, my chest slamming against the wheel. My breath tore from me in a ragged gasp. "Get in!" I shouted. Aaron scrambled up, face pale, knees scraped raw, and sprinted to the car. His hands clawed at the handle before he flung himself inside, slamming the door shut. We both sat there for half a heartbeat, staring forward, breaths ragged. Then floored the gas, tires screeching, the car lurching forward into the daylight. "What happened?" My voice came out rough, still shaking from the hit. Aaron sat hunched forward, hands trembling against his knees. He was bit before we even met him. I saw it while he was checking the shelves, back of his legs, pants torn, blood running down. He tried to hide it, said it was nothing, but I knew. His throat worked as he swallowed hard. I ran. He followed me all the way to the waste room, kept saying it was just a wound. Then he started twitching. And then, "Are you bit?" I cut him off, sharp. Aaron froze, head snapping toward me. His eyes widened like I'd struck him. No, man, I swear I'm not. I wouldn't lie about that." I held his stare a moment, searching. The car humming under us as daylight spilled across the empty road ahead. His face was pale, drawn tight, but not hiding. Just fear. Finally, I gave a short nod. Good, I'm not either. They tried, my jaw clenched, memory flashing hot. But they failed. For a long beat, neither of us spoke. The engine filled the silence, a steady growl as the city sprawled out in front of us. In daylight, it looked wrong. Too quiet in some places, too chaotic in others. A world unraveling right before our eyes. I pushed harder on the gas. I pulled out my phone with a trembling hand, thumb fumbling across the screen until her name lit up. It rang once, twice, then, "Stephen?" Her voice. Zia. Alive. My chest tightened. I gripped the wheel harder, the words leaving me before I even thought. "We're out, we're safe, and we're coming home." Let me know in the comments below if you want to hear more from this story. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.